Let's talk money now. And after years of some inflation, high interest rates, economic uncertainty, many Americans are turning to what's being called revenge saving. That is stashing cash away to regain control of their finances. And this new trend is creating a powerful shift in how people are thinking about money. And finance pro Mark Henry, who...
There's so many of these terms that they make up just for like a salacious headline. Quiet quitting. What is it called? Was it quiet firing? Is that what they called it whenever they're laying people off secretly by trying to force them to come back to the office? There's some other stuff I heard too. There's so many different terms, and now we have revenge saving. Let's see what this is about.
Who's the founder and CEO of Alloy Wealth Management, is here to break it down for us. Mark, thanks for joining us. What is revenge saving?
Yeah, so it's this idea of like hyper aggressively saving. I think we've had some years of hyper spending, and now all of a sudden, because of high inflation, because of prices, the younger generation and others are deciding it's time to take control of their finances and get very aggressive about saving money and getting control of their finances.
It has been a couple of generations now since people lived through the Great Depression. They were, of course, the best savers of the last century.
Savers ever.
And so this is the first time this century this kind of mindset shift is happening. And how is it impacting spending decisions?
Well, it's becoming the flavor to say no, I guess I would say. So think about this. We've gotten into this culture where your friends invite you out to the nice dinner and everybody wants to say yes. Well, now it's becoming this idea of saying, hey, we're not going to go. We'd love to have you over. We'd love to join you, but we're hyper in saving and getting control of our finances. Another term for it is loud budgeting. I hate that word budget. I like loud spending plan better.
See, here's another one, loud budgeting. Loud budgeting? Seriously? Is that what we're doing? Everything has to have some, by the way, this is the exact opposite of doom spending. Remember like a couple months ago, doom spending was a thing. It was the flavor of the week or the flavor of the month where people were kind of going, you know what? I can never get ahead. Things are too expensive. I'm drowning in debt. I'm not getting paid enough. Forget it. I'm going to doom spend. I'm going to put everything on a credit card, max it out, go on a trip to Greece, right? That was doom spending. So that was the thing before. Now we're talking about revenge saving. You know what's funny? Technically speaking, I've been a revenge saver my entire life pretty much. Because I think it just comes down, you know what it is? There's certain people that do certain things automatically just by their nature. So by me, I'm a saver by nature, an investor by nature. More of a saver, unfortunately. Try to be more of an investor, but I invest too. Some people are more inclined to just spend their money like crazy. So I think some people, what happens is whenever they find out something that other people have already been doing for a long time, they're gonna name it something. And they have to name it something for these headlines. So loud budgeting, revenge saving, doom spending. It's all for the headlines. But this is good though. This is what people should be doing instead of blowing their money that they don't have. Do I think it's actually a thing? Am I buying this? Not necessarily. I still think that people are in line with the, I don't know if I'll call it doom spending, but just spending more than they have. That's why buy now, pay later is so big. That's why people continue to get their cars repoed. We've seen plenty of those videos, right? People getting their car repoed because they put $2 down on the car note or the car, on the car. And now they have a $2,000 car note that they have to pay for and they make $500 a month. It's crazy. So I don't know. But let's see what else I gotta say about this.
Loud budgeting is really just letting people know what you're doing. And you're trying to take control and get back your life that you've kind of lost because it's been hard for many Americans to pay the bills right now. It's tough.
If you think to yourself, you know what? I really do need to aggressively save now. What's the best way to get started?
You have to know where the money's going first. I think that's the number one thing. And it's something, as you mentioned, the other generations were really good at. Remember, they used to write it all down. They knew where every dollar went. And right now, people really don't. So I always say, start with this. Where's the money going? So look at all the things that automatically come out of your account. All those gym memberships you signed up for. At one point in my life, I had 3. But it turns out you have to actually use them to get in shape. So find all the things that are hidden that are coming out of your account. Assign a job to every dollar. It's called zero-sum budgeting. There's that budget word.
Okay, so basically now he's talking about the basic stuff, the Dave Ramsey method, you know. To me, it's called basic common sense, but I know it's not basic to everyone. I know that financial literacy does need to be taught in schools because we're not all interested in the same things. I just so happen to be interested in personal finance, so I research it, I learn about it, I practice healthy or I practice prudent personal financial behavior, I guess you could say. Not to say that, as opposed to, what would the opposite of that be? non-prudent personal financial. Anyway, so yeah, he's talking about the basic stuff, but the whole idea about the revenge thing, I think, is that it's kind of sticking it to the businesses. I think that's what this is meant to be. It's sticking it to the idea that you have to spend your money and give your money away to corporations. I think that's the idea behind it. Corporations that don't care about you, they're just out to make a profit and out to bleed you dry. And so, hey, instead of going to spend my money at this restaurant or at this retail store, instead I'm gonna save my money. Instead, I'm gonna find alternative ways to, enjoy food inside the house with my friends. Or, I don't need to buy another t-shirt. I don't need a Gucci t-shirt. I'll just wear a plain black t-shirt. Or, I'll go thrift shopping, something like that. I think that's where the revenge part of it comes into play, because a lot of people, I guess they're feeling taken advantage of because of the way that prices are getting out of hand, which again, there's a lot to that. It's not just strictly corporate greed. Yes, there is part of it that's corporate greed. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like there's not, but of course it's not just that. It's not that easy. These corporations are getting squeezed too. You know what I mean? They have to buy things. That's where tariffs come into play. They have to buy goods and services, or not goods. They have to buy raw materials to make the shirt that you're wearing, and that costs money. They pay taxes on that too, tariffs, right? So it's not all corporate greed. Sometimes there are shortages on things, like back in COVID, like I mentioned in a different video, whenever there was a shortage on computer chips. And so because of that, the prices of used cars went up higher than the prices of new cars, because there was obviously demand for those chips. There was a few of those chips available. So what happens when you have a great demand and a low supply? Prices go up. So it's not always just corporate greed. But yeah, I think that's what this revenge saving is all about, honestly. Let's see a little bit more and see if there's anything else we can glean from this this thing here.
Again, but know where every dollar goes and assign a job for it.
What should we be doing with the money once we're saving it? I know people will always say, oh, don't leave it just sitting in a savings account because you're not getting enough return for that. So if you are saving, what should you do with the money?
Well, that's a great point, because the reality is there's so much advice on all the social media sites right now. And the first word I would say is be cautious. So one of the mistakes we see people making is they get excited about doing this revenge savings and really going to get fired up about saving. Well, we do that. Have we paid off our credit cards? So let's talk about that for a second, because high yield credit card debt and things like that have to go away. But what comes first? An emergency fund always comes first. So that is.
All right, guys, yeah, they're going down the Dave Ramsey method. They should give this guy his credit. They should be quoting him or something like that, or referencing him, because, I mean, this is exactly what they're talking. Not to say Dave Ramsey invented this. He didn't. He gave it cool names and cool terminology, and that works, like revenge saving. But essentially, that's what we're talking about. So if you want to hear about that, you can go watch Dave Ramsey. But anyways, with that being said, this is another one of those things. We got revenge saving, we have doom spending, we have quiet quitting, we have loud quitting, we have loud budgeting, we have quiet firing. Man, I mean, I don't know. It's a lot. But either way, this is a good one at least. Some of these things are just kind of ridiculous. This at least is a good one, because I think people do spend too much money, and they spend more money than they have, and they spend money unnecessarily. And then they complain about it and say they can't get ahead and that they're in debt. And granted, a lot of people, they're doing what they need to do and still can't get ahead. I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about the ones that make a good amount of money per year, and they're unable to invest or save or feel like they can breathe because they're spending more than they take in. So with that being said, we should all practice a little bit of a revenge saving. And I appreciate you for sticking around this far in the video. Feel free to give it a like and subscribe. And until next time, make smart financial decisions like revenge saving.